is the Louie Tee Network.
I'm ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Overtime! And we head to overtime.
Who else could it be? For me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to Monday Night Football Overtime. Buffalo Bills. Who knew? Seattle Seahawks. Monday Night Football. Hell of a football game. And we've been complaining and clamoring for better football, complaining about the level of play on these primetime games. They've been better of late, I must admit. And I didn't expect much of this game, to be honest with you. I went in with little to no expectations from this game. And I got a lot more than I was expecting. And so this is a really good football game. I'm going to jump into this one here in a second. But before we do, as always, welcome to the Louie Tee Network. I, of course, am your set man, Louie Tee. For those of you first time joining me here on the program, welcome to the Louie Tee Network. And for those of you who have been here before, but you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I tell you this every single episode. We're changing the game one live feed at a time, and it's made possible with viewers like you. So simply hit that subscription button to subscribe to the Louie Tee Network to help me change the game, man. That's what I'm looking to do. Give you a little bit of what the game's been missing here on the Louie Tee Network. Hit that subscription button on YouTube on the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. You want to know when I'm going live? You want to know when I'm updating my YouTube channel? That's going to be your easiest, most efficient way to find out. And also, if you want to just talk football, I'm a guy that loves to talk football. That's what I do. So the best way to do that as well, Twitter. You want to chop it up with me while I'm doing a video, but you can't get on YouTube? Twitter. That's the best way to do it. So go ahead, follow me on Twitter in the Lab Room. And also I'm on Facebook. I'm going to do some exclusive things there, some exclusive content that I'm not going to put on my other social media platforms. So when I get ahead of that curve, you need to go ahead and give me a thumbs up on Facebook as well. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. All of my social media platforms right there in the upper corner. Go ahead and check those out. But this was a good football game, and I didn't see the competitive level of this game being what it ended up being. I didn't think the Buffalo Bills had this in them. This changes my whole perspective. And I know there are no moral victories in this league. You either win or you lose. It's cut and dry. Hell, we've had some ties this season. But generally speaking, there isn't much gray area in the NFL. Either you win or you lose. And this Buffalo Bills team showed me something tonight. Now, I don't know if this is going to transfer over, if this is something I can expect from them moving forward. So I'm not going to really go overboard, and I think that's what the banana in the tailpipe is all about. That's the whole concept of that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But, man, this was impressive. Even in a defeat, this was impressive by the Buffalo Bills. And for the Seattle Seahawks, it's what they do. They find ways to win. It's not always pretty, but they find a way to get it done. That's what the good teams in this league do. Speaking of which, let's jump into this breakdown. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. Like, dislike, banana in the tailpipe.
What y'all, the second team?
We're the first team.
Yeah, we're not gonna fall for a banana in the tailpipe.
You're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
All right, so let's jump into this. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. We're going to start with the road team as we customarily do on this program. Likes in the first half for the road team, the Buffalo Bills in this game. And I thought the Bills came out with a lot of intensity, and I think that blocked punt set the tempo. Obviously, that's going to be the first like for the Buffalo Bills in this football game in the first half. You come out, you block the punt. Jerry Hughes gets in scot-free, essentially untouched. blocks the punt. Ball is recovered at the 3-yard line. Very next play, Tyrod Taylor read option gets into the end zone. And just like that, a minute and 13 seconds into the game, the Bills are up 7-0. And you're saying, okay, that's different. But I'm still thinking to myself, still going to get your ass whooped tonight. That was my mentality at the time of that block punt was, that's a nice start to the game, and it gives you an opportunity, but you're still going to get your ass whooped tonight. You can't score enough points. You can't do enough defensively to win this game. But that's a hell of a start. And so they got out to a nice 7-0 lead, and right comes the Seahawks back down the field. And what do the Buffalo Bills do? They respond again, and I just put wow in my notes. Wow is the only thing I could say to this because I haven't seen a drive like this all season long. They said that the Carolina Panthers had the longest drive in the league this year, 18 plays. Well, this 17-play, 75-yard marathon that took 10 minutes of the first quarter up, haven't seen anything like it all season long. I was in awe of their methodical approach on that drive. They never panicked, and they said that Tyrod Taylor told them before the game, the biggest thing to neutralizing that crowd in Seattle is taking your time, not rushing, not trying to do too much, taking what's there. They did that on that drive, and it was amazing to see all the different variations of formations that they used, full house backfield. You've got guys coming in motion. They did all kinds of things, empty sets. You name it, they did it on that possession. You got Offset on one side. You got two running backs, Reginald Bush on one side, and Shady McCoy on the other. They were doing some of everything. I mean, they gave them every look they could think of, and it helped them matriculate the ball down the field in 17 plays in 10 minutes, resulting in a touchdown. Justin Hunter with a good catch right at the goal line, falling back into the end zone. And it's 14-7. I'm like, who knew? They can't keep this up all night, but that's a nice start. And Seattle came right back down and tied the game up, but it was an impressive start for the Bills. Those are my likes in the first half for this Bills football team. You go to the Seattle Seahawks, and it's a 50-yard deep ball to Doug Baldwin to answer that block punt. Seahawks go 3-and-out in the opening possession, get the block punt, and boom, you're down 7-0. How do they respond? Like champs. Russell Wilson up top to Doug Baldwin, 50-yard pass down to the 6-yard line. A couple plays later, in the end zone, they go. It's knotted up at 7, just like that. Russell Wilson returning the favor. Tyrod Taylor scores the first touchdown of the game on read option. He doubles down and does the exact same thing. You can do it. I can do it just as well as you can. Touchdown. We're knotted up at 7. Seahawks offense early is on my likes list. Jimmy Graham touchdown. One-handed grab. We're going to talk more about Jimmy Graham in this breakdown, obviously. And my man Jay Moo was out there. Was that good enough for you, bro? You said during my last lockdown coverage video that you needed Jimmy Graham to have a big night. I'm assuming for fantasy purposes. Was that good enough for you? I hope so. Either if it wasn't, you were down way too much, bro. You were asking for way too much. Over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'd say he had a hell of a night. But in any event, the early offense by the Seahawks, they seemed unstoppable. And I just thought with Russell Wilson's lack of mobility, and I think that read option early for the touchdown was them trying to show, hey, he can run. Don't you sleep. But we all know the truth. Russell's not trying to run anywhere, man. I mean, he's banged up. He doesn't want to run a lot. So I thought the Bills would be able to kind of get him and neutralize him, keep him in the pocket. But that wasn't a good thing tonight because he was shredding those boys, especially in the second quarter when the Seahawks put up 21 points in that second quarter, their highest output, obviously, of the game. And that gave them a lead that they would not relinquish in that second quarter. And I thought that early Seahawks offense was dynamic in this game. They were moving the football. It seemed like at will. The Bills would go on a marathon drive, and they just respond in 5 plays. Bing, bang, boom, touchdown. Just like that. It's 14-all. And then you get the 35-yard punt by Tyler Lockett. And I don't know if they were trying to purposely kick away from him on the kickoffs. They kept pooching it and kind of kicking it to random guys instead of kicking it off to Tyler Lockett. Maybe they were trying to avoid him. Well, they found him on the punt return, and he almost made them pay for it. Did step out. Bills had a good challenge to push him back about 15 yards. It didn't matter. Jimmy Graham, he's a man. Did it again with the one-hand grab, this time in double coverage while having one of his arms held behind his back, essentially. This guy's so cold, man. When he's hot, he's cold. And he's cold-blooded. And I always said, if they could ever get Jimmy Graham involved in this offense like he was when he was in New Orleans, this would be a dangerous football team. And it seems like they're starting to figure some things out with him. And that could be a very vicious combination if those two get on the same page. Seems like the trust factor is starting to become real for those two. And if it does, in fact, hit that level where Russell is just like, I'm going to just throw it up to you, man. Make a play for me. Teams are going to be in trouble in that division. That's for sure. This was looks like the beginning of a beautiful relationship in Seattle, because I really didn't think they were ever on the same page before the injury. If they're on it now, though, look out. That could be a dangerous combination for years to come. And obviously, Christian Michael gets in on that possession with the Tyler Lockett touchdown. But Jimmy Graham is on my likes list. Obviously, this guy was phenomenal in this game. And really in the first half, he did most of his damage. He was either already at 100 yards or dangerously close to it in the first half. 2 touchdowns. He was monstrous. Had a leap over a defender in the first half as well. He was showing off is what he was doing. And he made the Buffalo Bills look bad in that first half. Jimmy Graham, he's a man. He was definitely a grown man in the first half of this game. You go to the dislikes in the first half for both teams. We go back to Buffalo first. And to me, it was giving up too many big plays. You're over there working hard. You got to block a punt for a touchdown. Next play, Tyrod Taylor gets in. You got to go 17 plays, 75 yards in 10 minutes to get your second touchdown of the game. You move it down again, and you got to settle for a field goal, your 17th point of the first half. And you're just giving up big plays to the Seahawks. It's like they're not working as hard as you are for your points. And I felt like the defense needed to be better. You give up the big ball to Doug Baldwin, and just like that, boom, they're in the end zone. You give up the 2 one-handed grabs to Jimmy Graham, just like that, they're in the end zone. With the pass interference, and damn it, he still caught the football. I mean, you give up the 35-yard punt return to Tyler Lockett, boom, they get in the end zone again. I mean, these are all things where you're saying to yourself, you can't have these. You get the pass interferences. Ronald Darby ends up getting benched in this game in favor of White, and it just seemed like there were too many big plays being given up by this Bills defense. And the one thing you wanted to say was, hey, make them earn it. Make them drive it. Hell, you got to drive it. They made you guys go 17 plays for 10 minutes. I was expecting you to make them do something similar, and they were just getting quick strikes. They were getting 5-play drives, less than 2.5 minutes, and they were in the end zone. And so it just felt like it was too much, too soon, too fast. They shouldn't be scoring 21 points in one quarter unless there are turnovers. There were no turnovers in the first half from the Buffalo Bills, yet the Seahawks managed to score 21 points. That shouldn't happen. But it did. It was because you were giving up too many chunk plays, and I thought that hurt you in the first half. Even though you played a hell of a first half, you gave up 28 points, and I thought that was a problem. Also, a dislike for me, the end of the first half situation with the Bills. Well, it's funny. We always have this conversation. I have these conversations with you guys, and we always talk about on Monday nights, especially in Seattle, all bets are off. And usually it's just period. Primetime Seattle, period. But Monday nights in particular, what happens in Seattle stays in Seattle. And we saw it again at the end of the first half. What the hell was that? Okay. Obviously, Richard Sherman is offsides. They blow the whistle, and he roughs the hell out of Dan Carpenter. That is roughing the kicker, okay? That is a unnecessary roughness penalty every single day of the week. Any way you slice it, I don't care what your explanation is, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's 15 yards. And he should not have had to come out the game. I'm glad the Bills were smart and realized, and I'm pretty sure Rex didn't figure that out himself. Someone else said, hey, Rex, you can just spike it and get him back on the field. But then the referees say, all right, we're going to stand here until there's 5 seconds left on the play clock, and you can't get this kickoff, and then we're going to call you for a delayed game. Are you kidding me? What are you guys doing out there? They botched the end of that half. And just think about this. Just process this for a moment. He made the kick from 49 yards before they called them for delay of game, which was a bogus call. Think about how the end of the game would have ended up. How different that would have been if they were down by 3 in that situation late in the ball game. We're probably talking about an overtime game potentially. Those types of decisions, calls, situations that are created by the officials impact the game. 3 points. You know how I am about points before the half. They screwed the Bills out of 3 points in the first half. And that proved to be costly at the end of this game when they needed a touchdown instead of only needing a field goal. Shame on you, officials. That was a very, very ugly end to the first half. One that I haven't seen in quite some time. That was a very crazy, disorganized, and dysfunctional end to the first half that cost the Buffalo Bills 3 points. And maybe even more importantly, cost them an opportunity at winning this football game. They had a whole nother half to try to overcome that, but still, you took away an opportunity for 3 points. 54 yards. Dan Carpenter hasn't hit a kick over 50 yards in probably 2 years, and he's 0 for 3 from anything 47 and up this season. He banged it from 49, and it would have been good, and you pushed him back to 54 with that bogus delay of game penalty. I just thought it was a farce at the end of the first half. You go to the Seahawks first half dislikes. Obviously, the block punt on the very first possession after they go 3 and out leads to a touchdown by Tyrod Taylor. That can't happen. It's not supposed to happen, especially not at the crib. But just a miscommunication on the guys on the inside. Nobody blocked Jerry Hughes, and he got in there and blocked the kick. It's really simple. Just a breakdown in communication, and those guys gave it up. And then the defense for me was on the dislikes list. I didn't expect Tyrod Taylor and company to do what they did in the first half. No one had come out and scored a touchdown on the Seahawks this year. The only team to have not surrendered a first quarter touchdown. They gave up 2 in the first quarter, which for a team that hadn't given up any is unheard of. So I thought the defense was a little suspect, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on as well. But the defense I thought wasn't all that sharp. Not in the first half. Hell, not in the second half either. I thought that this was more of a bend but don't break defense, and that's not what I've always known this defense. And I've been telling people this for years. To me, Michael Bennett is the heartbeat of this defense. He's the centerpiece. You take him out of the mix, this is an ordinary Seattle Seahawks defense. I've been saying that for at least 3 years now. I think you might be seeing why that is the case. They did not look like themselves tonight. They just didn't. And they didn't look like themselves last week when Tim Hightower ran for over 100 yards on them in the win when New Orleans beat them last week. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Let's go back to the likes, and we go to the second half of this game. For the Bills, it's the offense. And I want to specifically talk about a couple of players. First, let's highlight the offensive line. I thought they did a phenomenal job all night long blocking for Shady McCoy and Gillespie in the running game. Tyrod Taylor had ample time to throw the football. When he didn't, he just escaped the pocket and created more time. I thought the offensive line was phenomenal tonight. Some guys had some career nights tonight. I've never seen Tyrod Taylor play that well before. Ever. Never, ever, ever. And he's probably had more passing yards in a single game before. He's probably eclipsed 300 in his career a number of times. He's probably thrown the deep ball better in other games and racked up some yards. But if you're talking about just a proficient night, inside, outside the pocket, hitting guys on the money, on the move, across his body, extending plays, making the right play, this was that night. And yeah, he threw the interception. That's a miscommunication between he and Robert Woods on that one particular play. But Tyrod Taylor was phenomenal tonight. On the road in a hostile environment, I thought he was under control the entire night, almost throwing for 300 yards. With the way they play offense in Buffalo, he's never close to 300 yards. And yet tonight he was ripping it. I mean, he was spinning it out there. He looked comfortable, confident. And that's the guy that I fell in love with last year, where I was like, I asked at the beginning of the year, who is this guy? This is not the same guy I saw last year throwing the football. Tonight, that was the guy that I saw throwing the football last year. And I need to see more of that moving forward. That was one of the best performances I've seen from Tyrod Taylor in his entire career. Speaking of which, Robert Woods, that's without a doubt the best game I've ever seen him play in this league. Ever. 10 catches, $162. He was giving it to those Seahawks corners. They were playing soft zone. He was sitting down where he needed to, making yards after the catch. He was outstanding in this game, the go-to receiver. And they need guys to step up, and Robert Woods needs to step up, and he did in a major way tonight. Another guy that I thought had one of his best games of his career tonight. And then Shady McCoy does what he does best, make guys miss out in space. He was electric tonight. 21 carries, 85 yards, probably another 30 to 40 yards receiving through the air. He was dynamic tonight. And they just had it going on offense. They had it going on offense. And if not for some mistakes on their part, the interception, some costly, untimely penalties, they probably score more than the 25 points that they scored in this game. They had it going offensively first and second half of this game. Seattle, second half likes the Richard Sherman interception. Big play. But Bills are moving it down the field. They're going to get at least a field goal attempt here, maybe even get into the end zone. Miscommunication between Robert Woods and Tyrod Taylor turns into a Richard Sherman interception. I didn't think he would be able to reach it. I thought that ball was going to be out of his reach. As long as he is, I should have known better. He reached up there, was able to corral the football, and forced the turnover. Also, that last stop, it wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. It's gritty and it's a W. And so they were able to stand up tall when it mattered most, not give up the touchdown. And that's what the good teams find a way to do. I talked about it earlier. Good teams find a way to win. In this league, it's really cut and dry. The bad teams find ways to lose. The good teams find a way to win. Seahawks classify as a good team. They found a way to win at home. That was a great stop at the end of the game. You go to the dislikes for both teams, and we go to the second half and to the Bills yet again. Tyrod Taylor throwing the interception. I just chronicled that. Miscommunication up the field. I really want to put this one on Robert Woods. He breaks off his wheel route up the sideline. It looks like he's going to carry it all the way to the end zone. Tyrod Taylor anticipates that. He just stops for some inexplicable reason. He stops, and Richard Sherman eyes key in the quarterback, sees it the entire way, tracks the ball down, picks it off, takes an opportunity for at least a field goal off the scoreboard. That was a tough, bitter pill to swallow to start the second half because they were moving the football, had a chance to get in the end zone. At least, at worst, you come away with a field goal attempt there. And then the Eric Wood injury, arguably your most valuable offensive lineman. I always feel like after the tackles, your center is the next biggest piece of your offensive line, and Eric Wood makes the calls, sets the line protections. He's a versatile guy, and they're going to miss him, and it didn't look good. He had to be carted off the field. I hope he's okay, and it was just a precautionary measure that they took, but it did not look good for Eric Wood as he was carted off the field. The second half dislikes for the Seahawks, I really didn't have any. I thought they kind of took their foot off the gas pedal. 3 points after scoring 28 in the first half to not get the production that you had. And you're not going to score another 28. You're not going to duplicate what you did in the first half. But to only score 3 points the entire second half, I thought it was a little stagnant on the part of the offense. I thought they got a little bit too cute with some of the things they were doing. What they were doing in the first half was working. And that's Russell Wilson getting out of pocket with bootlegs, Russell Wilson driving the football down the field. And for some reason, they just stopped. And they got bogged down offensively. Bills got give the Bills some credit defensively. Got some pressure on Russell Wilson, forced him to throw the football away. Shaq Lawson got another sack. So they were able to do some things defensively, but make no mistake about it. It was a lot more on the part of what the Seahawks didn't do than anything the Bills did do in the second half. I didn't really like the offense in the second half of this game, and I think I even saw Jimmy Graham limp off the field at one point. I think he's fine, but I did think I saw him limp off the field at one point in the second half. So they just weren't as efficient in the second half. Obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. They scored 28 in the first half, only 3 points in the second, but I thought they did some things that they didn't need to do. It wasn't broken. They didn't need to fix anything from the first half of this football game. The banana in the tailpipe for the Buffalo Bills for me is this offense can't be – you're not this good offensively. I'm not falling for that. I can't. This was so good. Like, if you played offense this way for the remainder of the year, I'd venture to say in the final 7 games of your season, you could easily go 5-2. I mean, this was that good offensively, but I just can't see you guys playing that way offensively the rest of the season. I mean, Tyrod Taylor almost threw for 300 yards. His completion percentage, this is a guy that completion percentage is under 60 this season, and he's up around the 70 mark in this game. I mean, you guys can't do this moving forward. This isn't who you are moving forward. I'm not falling for that banana in the tailpipe. This offense can't be that good moving forward. And for the Seahawks, I'm going to say I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe with Jimmy Graham and Russell Wilson. I want to see that some more. That was phenomenal in the first half. That's what they need to do offensively. I think that could be something that could be a terrible tandem there. If those two can get on the same page, I want to see more of that, but I'm not. I've seen this before. They had a game before the injury. I want to say it was that Pittsburgh game. Might have even been that Pittsburgh game. It was a game where he had like 2 or 3 touchdown grabs and he was killing people. He'd have a game like this, and then the next 2 weeks he'd have a total of 4 catches, and then he'd have another big game. I've seen this before. I've seen this movie. I'm not buying this. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that all of a sudden Russell Wilson and Jimmy Graham, he's a man, all of a sudden on the same page. I'm not doing it. I'm not buying it. I fell for that before. I'm not falling for it again. You're going to have to show me this on a consistent basis in order to get me to believe that these guys are on the same page and that they're going to start dominating the NFC West division with plays like we saw tonight. From that standpoint, Seahawks get it done. 31-25. Go to 5-2-1 on the season. Meanwhile, the Bills, after starting 0-2, then winning 4 straight, have now lost 3 straight as they head into their bye week with a lot more questions than answers, under 500 at 4-5. Let's jump into where this game was won.
Well, wake her ass up! We're gonna win tomorrow!
Winning. You starting to get the concept now? Oops. Winning.
All right, so I just received the word that Eric Wood is done for the season. Eric Wood is out for the season, so that is a devastating injury to the Buffalo Bills. That sucks. That really, really sucks. That's a big injury for them. He is done for the season. I told you it did not look good. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. I'm no doctor. However, when guys get carted off 7 or 8 times out of 10, that's a significant injury, especially when it's a big guy. You always hope for the best, but in the back of your mind, you're preparing for the worst. And it was confirmed already. Eric Wood, Pro Bowl center for the Buffalo Bills, done for the remainder of the season with a leg injury. You'll probably hear more about that to the extent of what it is tomorrow. But Eric Wood done for the season. Buffalo Bills center out for the remainder of the 2016 NFL season. All right. Where this game was won, you could look at a number of different things that transpired in this game as to where this game was won. But to me, it literally came down to the final possession. I mean, the Bills just not getting in the end zone there was essentially where this game was won. They did some really good things throughout the course of the game. Seattle did a lot of their damage in the second quarter, and you could argue that's where the game really was won, in the second quarter, because the Seahawks didn't do much else the remainder of the game. They scored 21 points in the second quarter and took a 28-17 lead into the halftime break and ended up winning the game by 6, only scoring 1 field goal in the second half. You could argue this game was won in the second quarter, but Bills had opportunities in the second half through the interception on the first possession of the third quarter. Got down there, got a touchdown, got a 2-point conversion, but got down there again, but couldn't get in the end zone. So you could argue that the game was won in the second quarter, but I'll take it a step further and tell you this game was won on the final possession, that last possession where the Seattle Seahawks were able to keep Tyrod Taylor and the Buffalo Bills offense out of the end zone to secure the victory. Some plays were made there at the end. Didn't agree with all the play calling. You know, you got a situation where you got yourself into a long down and distance situation and you decide to run a draw. Wasn't a huge fan of that. But, I mean, these are the things that happen. It's easy to second-guess things when they don't work. But bottom line is, this game was won by the Seattle Seahawks, and they did enough. They didn't do things that I thought they were going to do going into the game, like stop Tyrod Taylor from extending plays, bottle him up, keep him in the pocket. They didn't do that in this game. But when they had to do it, they did it. And that's where this game essentially was won, on the final possession of the game. Or you could say in the second quarter when the Seahawks went bananas and scored 21 of their 28 first half points. Now, I've said my piece. I've said what I needed to say. Now I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about this game? Thought it was a really good football game? Let's wrap this thing on up.
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
All right. So we're going to get to your comments. So let's see what you guys thought about this game. Andrew Kim says, Again, 8 wins, shaking my head. It's getting to the point now where I'm picking enough games not to go under the Mendoza line unintentionally. I'm with you, man. Having been there myself, under the Mendoza line, I'm just picking I got to be better. We'll talk about that on Wednesday, though. I don't want to taint the show with my pick talk. Nine Draw says, damn, I think everyone who's not a Seahawks fan wanted the Bills to win. Brian Emerson says, when will Seattle stop getting help? I don't know, man. I know he's a Cardinals fan, so he's a little sick over there to his stomach seeing this go down the way that it did. But the officials, that was a train wreck at the end of the first half. They should be ashamed of themselves. Even the VP of officiating, Dean Blandino, the head of the officiating crews, says, he sends out a tweet that says it should have been essentially unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Richard Sherman, unnecessary roughness, and it should have been a 15-yard penalty, and the kicker should have been allowed to stay in the game. I just don't understand how the officials missed that. Brian Emerson B says he went 9-4 this week. I went 8-5. Moving right along. Andrew Kim says, why do the refs stink? I don't know, man. That was horrible at the end of the first half, though. I know that much. And it just is what it is. BE says the refs effing suck this year. I'll tell you this much. We can complain all we want about the refs. We've seen worse. You want to go back to those replacement dudes? That one year when Seattle got that phantom of Hail Mary, the fail Mary in the end zone? Come on, man. It could be worse. You can kill these refs all you want. And yeah, they've been bad this year, but it could be worse. Trust me. BE says Seattle is getting way too much help for teams to put up a fight. We've seen a lot go down in Seattle. Like I said, what happens in Seattle on a Monday night stays in Seattle on a Monday night, man. Y'all know how it goes. Don't act like you don't know how this goes. I don't even know why you guys complain. You know what time it is. You go to Seattle on a Monday night, all bets are off. The game is never the same when you go to Seattle. Captain Spartan 04 says, I think I know where the Seattle offensive money line went to the referee. Offensive line money went to the referees. You got to stop it. Mind Draw says, is Shaq Lawson still not 100% coming back from injury? He's not looking like a first rounder. Well, obviously, when you have surgery, guys don't just come back and look like they did before the surgery. It's going to take time. He'll be fine. Don't worry. He'll be fine. He got a sack tonight. And I already told you before the surgery, Shaq Lawson's not an explosive player. He's a good football player. He's not an explosive one, though. He never was. Not even at Clemson. DG Production says, the no call on Julio, now this call, and also no calls on Cam, etc. What the hell is going on, and how can the NFL fix the ref problem? One thing they can do is scale back what they're asking these refs to be looking at. They're looking at so many damn things every play. It's almost impossible to expect them to get everything right. The game moves so fast. But I tell you what, man, there were a couple more egregious hits. I don't have a problem with the Aaron Donald Superfly Jimmy Snuka body block on Cam Newton. I meant to talk about that during the breakdown of that game, but the game was so bad I just went on a rant. But in any event, Mark Barron gave him a forearm shiver, and they didn't. Well, like, wait a minute. Did you see what Mark Barron did to Cam, and they didn't call that? Like, you guys got to be kidding me, man. Look, I'm not even mad. I don't get mad anymore. I just smile and shake my head. I watched the officials jerk my Redskins over in London a couple weeks back. All I do is smile and shake my head. That's all I do now. I don't even get mad anymore. Jay Moose says, yes, sir. Graham came through with that fantasy goodness. I'm glad, man. I'm glad he blessed you tonight. Hopefully that was enough to get you what you needed tonight to get that W. Mind Draw says, man, I'm amazed of how young and unexperienced the Seattle Seahawks O-line is. This is coming from a Lions fan, LOL. I hear you, man. I remember when the y'all line was terrible and young. The guy at left tackle, Fant, that's amazing. He hasn't played offensive line since the 8th grade. And looking at him on those basketball clips, I'm like, what is he, 230, 240 at max? How the hell is he playing offensive line? You telling me he put on 50 pounds since college? I mean, we're talking a year removed from college, not 3 years removed. And he said, how is this guy playing left tackle? Unreal. Seattle be getting away with some nonsense. I swear, man. That's crazy. Nick Riley says, man, Sherman was getting away with some BS. Sherman always gets away. When you have a reputation in this league, you get away with a little bit more. Josh Norman, same thing. Darrelle Revis has been doing it for years. When you have a reputation, you get away with a little extra stuff, a little extracurricular, man. You can grab a dude and tug him and pull him. And Richard Sherman has been molesting and assaulting receivers for the last 5 years now. So this isn't anything new. Richard Sherman, when Brandon Browner and Richard Sherman, they were thugs. A couple years back together, man. When they won the Super Bowl and went back the next year and lost to the Patriots, they were thugs. They were assaulting cats. That secondary was mugging folks, man. Taking their purse, their watches, jewelry, wallets, cell phone. They were mugging cats. Stick them up, man. Give me everything you got in. Run them pockets, man. This didn't just happen overnight. They've been doing this for years. BE says, Jimmy took anything he wanted tonight, man. Jimmy was on fire tonight, man. Fire on top of things, man. I told you he's cold. When he's hot, he's cold, man. Jimmy was hot and cold tonight. Hot in the first half, cold as hell in the second half. I don't remember seeing him catch but one ball in the second half. Damon Brown says, tough loss. Bills fans base got me losing my mind. Guess who they blamed again? I know they did not blame Tyrod again tonight, man. I hope they didn't do that. That man played his ass off tonight. Captain Spartan 04 says, Jimmy plus Russ plus Doug plus Tyler plus Thomas, a dangerous offense on paper. That's what it seems like. We'll see what happens moving forward. Nick Riley says, man, for real, how the F wasn't that roughing the kicker? And how about the last play of the game? Go back. Sherman throws the man to the ground. Look, I just told you. Did I not just tell you what Sherman began? Dick gets away with a lot of stuff. Dick Sherman gets away with murder. All right? Don't act surprised. But I could point to a number of corners who get away with murder on a lot of plays. Mugging guys, grabbing them, assaulting them, molesting them. Look, I've seen these corners commit felonies for years, man. So when they get a slap on the wrist, every now and again, the referees will throw a little penalty on them, man. A little fine. They don't even put them in jail. It's a little fine, man. Take your little $500 fine, man. Get out of my face. Don't do it again. You're like, all right, man, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. And of course they're going to do it again. They're habitual offenders. They're repeat offenders. Their recidivism rate is high. They don't care. And when you have that reputation, you can get away with some stuff. Bernard543 says, clearly roughing the kicker before halftime. Refs love the Seahawks. LMFAO. It seems that way. It seems that way. I will not lie. BE says, when will Seattle... Okay, we just talked about that. Mind Draw says, I usually don't have nothing against Sherman, but damn, that man is easy to hate. And then he grit gamed Rex Ryan after the pick, just stared at him. Mean mugged him. BE says, I hope Sherman gets fined massively. For what? You talking about that roughing the kicker no call? I doubt it. I seriously doubt that. Captain Spartan 04 says, Travis Kelce brought up a great point today. Refs can throw all the flags they want, but players and coaches can't say or do anything. Yeah, I was weak when he threw his flag. He should have thrown it in the air, though. He kind of threw it at the official. That could be portrayed as him trying to throw an object at an official. It was a good call to throw him out of the game, but I didn't have a problem with him throwing it. If he threw the flag up in the air like, man, I'm flagging you, that would have been hilarious, and I would have been upset that he got thrown out of the game. But he actually threw the flag at the official. You can't do that. RG3 hashtag smoking that 3 hashtag 1000 hashtag says, how about that Percy Harvin come back out of retirement? How about it? I didn't see Percival Harvin touch the football once tonight. So he was back. Saw him on the field running around, but he didn't do anything. So we'll see. Damon Brown says, Tyrod has never had a 300-yard game. So there you have it. A Bills fan dropping that knowledge on us. So I'm telling you, this was the best game I've ever seen Tyrod Taylor have. And I thought he had, because he's always seemed to be able to hit the deep ball. So I thought there was one of these games out here where he's hit Goodwin on a 65-yard touchdown and Samuel Watkins for a 62-yard touchdown in the same game and eclipsed 300. But he's never done that. This, to me, was his cleanest performance. And despite the interception, and that was not like a bad decision, it was just a mix-up with him and Robert Woods. To me, this was his best game of his career, man. I was really impressed with him tonight. Nick Riley says, Robert Woods actually looked like what people expected him to be. 10 catches, 162. Robert Woods was on fire tonight, man. It was a forest fire, man, and Woods was on fire tonight. Those Woods was hot. Hot, I tell you. And they couldn't put it out. They couldn't put that fire out, man. The Woods, it was just a fire. It was a brush fire that just got big and turned into a raging forest fire, man. And Woods was on fire tonight. Can he keep that up? And that's why I said that's my banana in the tailpipe. I can't see Woods doing this again. I can't see Tyrod. This is not who the Bills are. So because of that, I don't see this being who they are. That's why it's my banana in the tailpipe. Captain Spartan 04 says, he said coaches should have their own flags and players should have their own flags. Yep, I agree with that. But then you would have players throwing flags, coaches throwing flags all over the place. Coaches already do have a flag. It's called a red challenge flag. DG Production says, Percy killing it for me in fantasy. Really? You couldn't have had Percy Harvin on your team. Percival couldn't have been on your team. LOL. Stop your nonsense, man. Y'all stupid. David Brown says, we need to re-sign Robert Woods. This was a good game for Robert Woods. And when healthy, he can be a really solid number 2 receiver. He looked like a number 1 tonight, but we all know that who the true number 1 is when healthy, but that's never. So they need him to step up and play like we saw him play tonight. All right. Damon Brown says, I still think Sherman is the best corner, but I hated him tonight. Obviously, that's how it goes when you're playing against a player. Mondraw says, maybe Percival Harvin is to Tyrod Taylor what Michael Bennett is to the Seahawks defense. I don't know, maybe. I mean, Percy Harvin shows up and the man has one of the best games of his career. I don't know. Is that a coincidence? We'll find out. Captain Spartan 04 says, thoughts on Jared Goff not starting until Rams are out of the playoff race. Basically, Jeff Fisher saving his job. Well, I tried. I couldn't do anything. Look, man, we can't get rid of Jeff Fisher, and we know this already. Like, I don't get mad about that anymore. Bottom line is, we knew that was going to be the case. Once they started Case Keenum and they got off to the 3-1 start, they thought they had a shot. So the chances of Jared Goff getting in the game, slim to none. And I've already asked the question. I asked this question on the breakdown. I went on a little bit of a rant in the Panthers and Rams game today when I broke it down because it was such a bad football game. My goodness, that was a bad watch. I essentially asked the question, when is enough? How many games you got to lose to get him in the game? I'm just curious. So we'll see how many games they lose in a row because they were 3-1. Now they're 3-5. So we're going to see how many games they lose in a row and how long it takes them to realize, okay, you're not making the playoffs because you got Case Keenum at quarterback and they put him in there. We'll see how long it takes. Damon Brown says, Eric Wood gone for the remainder of the season. Well, there goes the rest of our season. We have no O-line depth. We're going to find out. It's going to be tested. Groy came in the game and actually did a bang-up job tonight. We'll see what happens moving forward. Nick Riley says, man, that injury reaper back at it again, man. He never sleeps. His ass never sleeps. I tell you that much. Vincent Coe says, what happened to Cam Chancellor again? When is he coming back? He's got a groin injury. Haven't seen that man in over a month. Don't know when he's coming back. Haven't heard when he's coming back. BE says, second best primetime game of the season behind Seattle Cardinals tied OT game. That was a pretty good game too. Captain Spartan 04 says, speaking of Louisville offensive lineman, how's John Miller looking? He's starting, and you saw him tonight. He looks good, man. He's playing solid football for the Bills at right guard, holding it down for them. So another solid Louisville offensive lineman getting it done at the next level. BE says, y'all, those replacement refs were trash. I'm trying to tell you, it could be worse. Y'all sitting here crying about these regular officials. It could be worse. Trust me. Hell no, those refs were A1 booty hole. LOL. Those boys were horrendous, man. I remember going off on rants on them back in the day. So trust and believe when I tell you, it could be a lot worse. BE says, I believe it's December 24th when we play Seattle in Seattle. I hope we walk into Seattle and beat them again in Seattle for the second straight year. We're going to see. That's going to be a big game. If Arizona can get their act together, that could be a big game. We'll see. Nick Riley says, man, we all have refs F us over. Don't even get me started with that BS blocking the back that wasn't called against the Lions Sunday trash-ass call. Lot going on in that game, man. There's a lot to discuss about that game. Nick Riley says, Man, they don't even let my boy Xavier Rhodes get away with nothing. You right. Every time he do something, he gets flagged. I can tell you that much. Captain Spartan 04 says, if that's the case, I hope Artie gets away with some calls in the future. We'll see. Artie had his best game of his career on Sunday versus the Ravens. Damon Brown says, watch that last play of the game. Richard Sherman straight up rammed the wide receiver and the wide receiver to the ground. BS. And my man Nick Riley already told us that Rich basically threw the dude on the ground. I said, look, man, what do y'all expect, man? This is what Rich does. I keep trying to tell y'all, man. Dick Sherman be sticking dudes up like Biggie Smalls. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. These cats don't stand a chance. Mind Draw says, you said something today about the Lions having that it that allows them late game heroics. Goddamn, those Seahawks are having some of that it for years now. Look, man, either you have it or you don't have it. I don't know what it is, and I can't describe it, but either you have it or you don't. Seahawks just seem to have it when they're at home. Simple as that. Those boys, there's a mystique, an aura that surrounds CenturyLink, and if you go in there and you think you're about to win and you think you're going to steal one late, think again. BE says, I'm not a Patriots or Seattle fan, but I hope Brady and company slaughter the Seahawks. Of course you do. That's what family business is all about, man. You always looking for your family member to suffer a very, very tragic fate. That's what family members do, man. They wish bad on other family members. All right. Let's see what else we got. Sherman, best corner. NA PP21 is the best corner in the league right now. I'm a Patrick Peterson guy myself as well. Damon Brown says, Gilmore was garbage. What's his next team? It ain't the Bills. They benched Darby at one point tonight. So you got trouble out there. Rex Ryan puts a lot of pressure on his corners, man. He loves to blitz. He loves to play man-to-man, ask those boys to hold up on the outsides, and they weren't able to do it tonight. So it was rough on them boys tonight. Captain Spartan 04 says, the injury reaper has yet to give me my news on Darius Hayward-Bay. Hope it's good for you, man. I hope Darius Hayward-Bay is all right. Never thought I would be actually sitting here talking about the injury status of one DHB, but he's been big for you guys this season. Mind Draw says, I almost forgot. I don't know how Roby Coleman is a starter, even at the nickel position. He was total booty today among Bill's corner. I actually like Roby Coleman, man. He usually makes some big plays for them like he did against the Rams this year and against the Dolphins last year. But he struggled like everybody in that secondary did tonight. It wasn't a good game for the Bills secondary tonight. They were scorched. And everybody took turns participating in Seattle, having their way in that first half. So I don't want to single him out. They struggled tonight. Nick Riley says, man, if Xavier did that, his ass would get flagged and thrown out. And Nick also says, man, it's time for Blair Walsh to go, Lou. Tired of his ass. It might be time for Blair Walsh to pack his things up in Minnesota. Definitely. With that being said, though, those are all your comments. I'll check Twitter quickly. I don't think there's anything there, but I'll do my due diligence. I'll check it out anyway, just to make sure. And there's nothing there. I'm going to check my mentions and make sure there's nothing there. And there is nothing there either. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining me on this program. Monday Night Football overtime. Seattle Seahawks escape with a 31-25 victory over a very game Buffalo Bills football team that performed well tonight. Again, no silver linings in losses, no moral victories here, but the Bills, even in defeat, were ultra impressive tonight. They get the job done. Do the Seattle Seahawks move to 5-2-1. Meanwhile, the Bills continue their losing ways, drop their third straight after, again, starting the season 0-2. They're winning 4 straight to get to 4-2. Now they've dropped 3 straight games going into their bye week at 4-5. And now the Dolphins, who beat this Bills team a couple weeks back, now in second place at 4-4 on the season behind the 7-1 New England Patriots. So that's going to do it for Monday Night Football overtime. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room on the Louie Tee Network. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I thank all of you guys for joining me here tonight. All of your comments, all of you just watching in the wings. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your eyeballs and your ears. Have a great night. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Louie Tee Live. Until then, enjoy your time. I'll see you then. Have a good one. God bless and good night.
Broncos won the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning retired. 49ers won 5 games and Tom Sula got fired. RG's in Cleveland and my Rams hit the West Coast. Be sleepless in Seattle cause that 12-man ain't beast mode. Oh yeah, I knew it was something I forgot to mention. Yeah, old Tom Brady about to get that suspension. Yeah, I know the Pats fans probably think that's whack. Yeah, but at the end of the day, your balls was flat. It's that time again. It's that time again to go hard in the offseason, cause we trying to win. We gon' go so hard, we don't take no days off. Hopefully one day it's all gonna pay off. Shout out your defense, they tissue, cause they soft. Catch 'em while they sleeping, we gon' sneak in the playoffs. I'm ready for some football, I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou?